Seraphine is finally out. This champion may have a lot of controversy behind her, but here at Skillcapped we mostly just care about the gameplay. So we've made the only guide you're going to need in order to get started playing her. As is tradition with Riot, Seraphine is definitely going to be an S tier champion upon release. Whether you want to know how to play her or what she's weak to, we've got you covered. So let's jump right into it. As with all new champions, let's cover her abilities first. Seraphine may seem complex at first, but once you understand her kit, she's actually a fairly simple champion to pick up. She has a two-part passive. The first part, Echo, does exactly what it says. She builds stacks from her basic abilities, and once she has built 3 stacks, her next basic ability will cast twice. Her second passive is Harmony. Seraphine's basic abilities grant notes to her and her nearby allies. Each note will increase her auto attack range slightly, and when she autos a target, all the notes will fire at it, dealing substantial damage. Her Q is High Note. Seraphine hurls a sound wave that expands on impact, dealing damage to everything in its radius. The ability will do more damage based on the target's missing health. Her W is Surround Sound. Seraphine shields herself and all allies around her, giving a burst of movement speed. Here's where her Echo passive comes in. If Seraphine was already shielded at the start of the cast, then she will heal all allies in its radius at the end of it for a percentage of their missing health based on how many people are in it when the cast ends. Basically, this heal scales off of the number of players in the radius when it ends, your AP, and their missing health, and can heal for a substantial amount in the correct situation. There's a few things to know about this ability. Yes, you can activate the heal portion of it off of someone else's shield. For example, let's say you bought Locket. You could shield up and then heal everyone without having to waste your Echo passive. Some of you may have gotten the bright idea watching this and may be thinking, wait a second, can I get a double heal this way? Sorry lads, the answer is no. Even if you're shielded at the start of an Echo version of this ability, only one heal will go off at the end. Not like it matters. Although it can be a little confusing, this is just a mini redemption on top of a Karma Mantra shield. It's absolutely absurd, and what will make her a top tier champion for sure, especially in coordinated environments. Her E is Beat Drop. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's a theme going on here. Seraphine fires a skill shot in a straight line, hitting everyone in its path. Enemies hit will be slowed for 99% for 1 second. Just like her W, this ability has applications with her Echo passive. Enemies hit that are already slowed will be rooted instead. Enemies that are already rooted will be stunned instead. Obviously, we're using 100% CDR on the training tool to demonstrate this, and achieving a stun with her E would be impossible since it can only go off twice. Just like her W though, you can use other sources to reap the benefits. For example, Hextech GLP can slow the enemy, and then an Echoed E will guarantee a stun. This ability is quite powerful, especially with its long range. Playing off of your teammate's CC in fights from safety in the backline will make Seraphine a terror to deal with. Finally, Seraphine's ultimate is Encore. After a brief delay, she fires out a skill shot nuke that will charm all enemies hit by it. This ability is aptly named. The cool thing about it is that whenever it tags either an ally or an enemy, it extends the range as if that player is casting it. While you're never going to get it to go this far, that is pretty cool. It also gives any allies it passes through 4 passive notes, which Seraphine can then obviously proc for extra damage. This ability is disgustingly OP. Charms are one of, if not the strongest forms of CC in the game. Not only does it lock down your targets, but it forces them further out of position. On top of its long range, this ability is crazy strong for setting up kills. So even though Seraphine has a very mage-like kit, she plays almost exactly as an enchanter would. She loves grouping with her team. Remember, she gets more passive notes by having more allies around her. Just being near your teammates gives her a ton more damage. Her ultimate and E are also incredibly deadly at enabling her team, and she is also able to consistently stun targets with her E off of her own teammates' CC. It's not even that she's only good at full-blown teamfighting either. Just 1 or 2 teammates is more than enough to enable Seraphine to pop off. She really just needs someone to stand behind her in order to make the most use of her kit. All this means is that if you're a lone wolf type of player, Seraphine likely wouldn't be for you. It's not that she can't be on her own, but she's relatively vulnerable without teammates around. Her damage isn't threatening enough to dissuade people from killing her, and she's very squishy if enemies manage to get on top of her. Which brings us to a very important point, what her main role will be. She can either play support or mid lane, but we do think she will definitely favor the support role. The big reason for this is her passive. Seraphine draws a ton of her power from both portions of it. Obviously her notes have a lot of value for her. Having someone in lane besides her literally doubles the amount of notes she would get alone. This is a huge deal for her early laning presence. And secondly is her echo passive. The problem in mid lane is that you obviously need to use abilities to clear waves, which can make managing her echo difficult. Unfortunately, she has relatively high CDs. If you're constantly using your main source of damage to clear waves, then you can be left very vulnerable. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, a sub to the channel would be incredible. Meanwhile, in bot lane, she's not forced to farm minions. She has way more poke and kill potential when she can actually hold onto her Echo E, which is her strongest ability early on. On top of that, there's a ton of great ADC pairings for her that enable her to be even more obnoxious than she already is. Ashe and Senna come to mind as her best duos. Both of them have consistent slows and CC, which consistently allows Seraphine to land roots or stuns with her E instead of just slowing with it. Of course, any ADC with CC works, but those two are likely her best pairings. All that being said, it's not like you can't play her mid lane, you just wouldn't be a solo carry. Oftentimes you'd be playing off of ganks, or using her absurdly long range to just wave clear and wait to scale to late game. Seraphine scales ridiculously well, so think of it like playing a solo lane Soraka. You're just waiting for your team to shine in fights. Lastly, there is the possibility that Seraphine is like Taliyah or Veigar, where they're mostly viable in bot lane due to their specific kits. Seraphine may fit that profile as well. She wants a lane partner, but also wants gold since she can hyperscale. We're not sure if this will be one of her main roles, but we wouldn't be shocked if it was. Alright, let's cover some combos. Seraphine only has two real combos that you need to know. First up is the very simple ult flash. You just press your ultimate before you flash to cancel its animation, making it come out faster than if you had done the reverse. Due to how insanely long the range is on your ultimate, you won't have to use your flash very often, but having this in your back pocket just in case can't hurt. Her most important combo is just keeping in mind that you should only have 2 stacks of her passive before pressing her ultimate. This way you can use E afterwards to lock up your target, which keeps them in place for an echoed Q. A small tip to keep in mind that we didn't cover in her abilities section is that Seraphine and her allies can each hold a maximum of 4 notes. During the later stages of the game, when mana is not an issue, you will want to count out how many teammates are around you and try to maintain maximum note stacks. This isn't the most important thing to do on Seraphine, but if you're an efficiency freak, then we'd highly recommend doing so that you can always maximize your damage at the start of a fight. Also, unless you're against a ton of healing and need Ignite, you're going to want to run Exhaust in 99% of your games when you're playing support. If you remember how her E works, well, having an on-demand slow is super useful for landing CC setups on your opponents during the laning phase. Not only does it make your E easier to land, but it also allows you to save your Echo passive for a double Q instead, for the execute damage on low health targets. And this brings us to the build section. Recommending Exhaust to help set up your E may lead you to believe that we'll be telling you to run Glacial Augment, but we're not. You'll want to run Arcane Comet in most of your games. Seraphine has fairly long range on her Q and E, being able to tag her opponents from far away makes her a prime candidate to run Comet. Poking players from literally out of your sight should be enough to incentivize you to run this rune over anything else. It'll be the most consistent rune that you can take to make her zoning incredibly oppressive. As for itemization, it's a bit tricky. Seraphine is coming out just before a huge item rework, which are subject to change before release. We were also unable to test the current items with her on live, so we'll just recommend a standard build that is sure to be good but perhaps may not be the most optimal. For current itemization, if you're playing her in mid lane, then you will want to run this rune setup. For items, go Hextech GLP to enable your E, then Lucidity Boots. Along with Transcendence, this should put you at 45% CDR very early on, which is by far her most important stat due to how impactful her E and W are. After that, go Liandry's Torment into situational AP items like Rabadons, Void Staff, Banshees, or Zhonya's. For support on live, run the same runes, maybe Scorch instead of Gathering Storm if you're Alpha, and build Athenes into Ardent Censer, and then situational support items such as Locket, Redemption, or Mikhail's based on the specific game. She may not be a true enchanter, but Ardent and Athene's are so OP together at the moment that you may as well abuse them before they're gone or nerfed. As for new itemization, we won't pretend to know what will be best, especially since changes are still coming. That being said, these are the core items that she'll probably build. For support, you'll want the Imperial Mandate mythic item. It synergizes with champions who spam slows on the enemy team, and that's literally what Seraphine does with her E. For mid, you'll want Everfrost. It's the new Hextech GLP, and you'll need it to set up your E. And last but not least, we have Skill Order. For mid lane, you'll want 3 points in Q, which should be enough to wave clear, then max E, then W. You don't want to delay maxing E and W since they are by far your most important spells. For support, just max E then W with points in your ultimate whenever you can. And that's going to wrap up our Seraphine guide. Wait, we forgot a very important detail. It is crucial to know that Seraphine does have a pay-to-win skin. Imagine killing your opponents in lane into the instant selfie spam on top of their corpses. Our analysts believe this is a S+ tier for mental warfare and will tilt the enemy team for sure, or at least cringe them to death. By the way, you should know where these videos come from. Our hyper improvement platform Skillcapped is by far the best place to be if you want to actually improve at League of Legends. You can input your rank before you sign up and see where we think you'll climb to. If you don't reach that rank while actively using Skillcapped, you can claim a full refund. That's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped or you get your money back. We offer this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't, you shouldn't have to pay for it. So be sure to check us out after this. Let us know if you're buying this slightly overpriced skin for the BM potential, and we'll see you next time.